Hello and welcome back to Formula 1 2019 on the TomFM channel. Today we have got the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa, one of the best tracks on the circuit, but personally one that I am not particularly good at, so do not expect a good race here today. But before we get into anything else, we've got some massive updates to tell you about. We're still third in the driver standings, but you might be able to see some differences in the driver standings already that we can talk about. We're third, not too far behind Charles Leclerc, but quite a distance behind Lewis Hamilton. 65 points behind Hamilton. We've got some work to do. In terms of constructor standing, it's not looking brilliant either. So it's a bit of a tough one, but there's been some big movement, and I think you can probably see already that Charles Leclerc is now racing for Red Bull. Interesting. So if we go and have a look at our messages, you can see here that Pierre Gasly has been signed to Ferrari to replace Leclerc, and as a result, Leclerc is moving to Red Bull Racing and Verstappen has been let go. So let me break this down for you. In F1 2019, the license allows the drivers to move teams and things like that, which is really cool. You get driver movements all the time. Obviously, we've come into Red Bull and we've replaced Pierre Gasly. So obviously, he's sort of the free driver. He's not got a car. For whatever reason, Ferrari have decided that they want to sign Pierre Gasly because Leclerc, in second in the championship, is apparently not doing good enough for him. So they replaced Leclerc with the spare Pierre Gasly. But because Leclerc is now free, Red Bull have thought, okay, we're going to sign Leclerc. And as a result, Verstappen has been let go. And now he's the sort of spare driver. And he's not got a seat at the moment. He's not even going to be driving. So it's me and Leclerc now at Red Bull Racing, which is pretty mental. In slightly more standard news, we've got some upgrades coming to the car. Only the one, but it's a big one for the chassis. Weight reduction, rear floor under tray, that's apparently an upgrade that we've done. So that should help the car go a little bit faster. So fingers crossed, it'll all be good news for us this weekend in Spa. So as we head into Q1, we need to make sure we don't have a repeat of last time out, where we ended up 18th on the grid. That was a disaster. It was really, really poor from us. This time, we need to be a 149.3 around Spa to get into Q2. I think we should be capable of doing that. So as we start our flying lap here in Q1, Spa is always touted as the driver's favourite track. Everyone loves Spa, and I think it is a really good track if you're good at the game, which really, I'm not good at the game. So really, for me, it's a bit of a nightmare. I love this Eau Rouge. I love it so much, but I'm just not very... I mean, I nearly lost control of it there. I'm just not very good at it, basically. And that's my issue, I think, with a lot of this track. As we come very close to hitting Carlos Sainz there. I don't know why I went very close to him there, but I'm just not particularly good at this track. Spa as well has got this really, really sort of... Well, it's pretty much... It's got a few bends in it, but it's pretty much flat out all the way through most of Sector 3. And right at the end of it, you've got the bus stop chicane, which is a bit of a tricky corner to get right. But if you do get it right, you get a pretty good time on your lap. As we approach the end of the lap, we open up with DRS. Where are we going to be? Fastest. Okay. I mean, we'll take that, but I wasn't expecting that at all because I'm really not good at Spa. I mean, Q1, we'll take it. We're outperforming our teammate as well, our new teammate, but I was not expecting to be top of Q1 by a second. That's a bit mental. Right then, this time in Q2, we've left it a little bit late actually to get the lap in, but a 148.5 is the time that we need to be beating if we want to get into Q3 and make the shootout for pole position. So I think we should be able to do that, but I'm surprised at how well I'm actually performing right now on this track. So as we cross the line for a hot lap here in Q2, I mean, the reason I know that I'm not good at this track is because I've played it quite a bit on multiplayer with a few of the Football Manager creators and things, and I don't think I finished in the top 10 in any of the races, and usually I just spun out massively on Eau Rouge, and I nearly did it again there. I can feel the car twitching away, and you can hear me just taking my foot off the gas there and getting away from the accelerator to try and keep the car on the track, that is, rather than spinning off. But we've gone purple through Sector 1 again, and I don't understand why we're so fast. I mean, I know the AI are really fast on some tracks and really slow on other tracks, and I guess this must be one that they're just really slow on, but on 92 difficulty, whatever we're on, I was not expecting us to be anywhere near this good, especially when you consider as well that on my last track, Hungary, which is one of my favourite tracks, one I feel like I'm probably one of my best tracks at racing on, we couldn't even get out of Q1. So it really does show like just how mental and different the AI are on this game. As we head through the bus stop chicane then right at the end of this lap, where are we going to be in Q2? It doesn't really matter too much. As long as we're inside that top 10, that's really good. We crossed the line. What was it then? Third fastest this time. So maybe now the game is catching up a little bit, and we'll start to drop down the pecking order a little bit, but we'll take third in Q2. Oh, I'll tell you what, it wasn't third by much. 0.082 seconds. That's good enough for me. As we went into Q3, you will have missed it, but I just got a radio message saying that there's going to be rain in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So rather than leaving it late, I think it's probably better to get out there early. You can see that there's rain in 20 minutes, and we've got 11 minutes left of this session. I kind of want to just get out there early, put a good lap in, and see if it can get a good lap in before the rain starts to come down. So we're really going to have to go for it now in Q3. This is going to have to be our lap, because we've only got these set of tyres left to use in qualifying. Once these are gone, I mean, we can use them again, but they're not fresh rubber at that point, so they're just not going to be quite as fast. And in qualifying, you need every bit of advantage you can get. So hopefully we do a good job on these tyres, going up through Eau Rouge, doing pretty well then, almost flat out. I took my foot off the accelerator just a little bit there, but I think we should have a purple first sector based on the cars that have already set laps and things like that. So don't read into the purples too much as we go. To be fair, it's not a purple sector, is it? So that's a bit embarrassing on my part, actually. Our new teammate, Charles Leclerc, has just gone fastest. He set a 118 in this middle sector. He was at a 118 when we got to the end of the sector. So we'll see how we are. I don't know if we're actually going to be that close. I think we may have done absolutely fantastically well in Q1 when everyone else was sort of running a bit slower. And this time around, now it's getting to the series part of the session. We're back where we should be, a little bit slower. Although we have just set a purple sector. Oh, right, this is going to be real close then for who's going to get pole position. Obviously, we've got quite a bit of this sector left, or this session left to go, but it is meant to start raining a little bit towards the end of it. So we'll see how we get on as we approach the bus stop chicane, as I brake a little bit later than usual for it, trying to carry as much speed as possible. Here we go then, across the line. Where is it going to be provisionally? Up to pole position provisionally. Now, as I said before, we're just not going to be getting better time on these tyres. We're already down by 0.1 seconds after the first corner. I mean, we'll see what it is after we get up Eau Rouge and things like that. But we're not going to be setting a faster time on these tyres. So, and especially without a front wing. So I'm going to go and return to the garage, finish off this session, and see how we've got on. So currently, with 4 minutes to go in the session, I am still fastest by 0.8 seconds, actually. That is massive. And as the session comes to its ends, I think that's it. We are on pole position by half a second ahead of our teammate Charles Leclerc. You love to see it. So that qualifying session, putting it on pole, was the perfect response to a disastrous qualifying last time and finishing down in 6th in last race as well. We need to do better than that. So I'm really excited for this race. If we can hold on to the lead, it's going to be a perfect race. But as per usual, the AI always gets amazing starts. We never get a good one. So turn 1 is going to be real interesting. We want to apparently be on the soft compound tyres until lap 5 before we switch to the mediums on lap 6. That seems about right to me. That seems okay. We're going to stick with that strategy for now. We can change it mid-race if we need to. So let's get going back on the front of the grid where we belong after last race was a bit disastrous. 5 red lights, they're out, and away we go. Leclerc, as I said, has got an incredible start alongside us. He's nearly ahead of us into that first corner, but we manage actually to not keep the lead. Leclerc's got there, but we've got some better traction. We are side by side with our teammate as we go through Eau Rouge. No one lets off, really. He just gets the better line and goes through it a little bit better. Leclerc is, which is very strange to say, Leclerc in the Red Bull has taken the lead, but we're straight in the slipstream. Can we get the move done by the end of this straight? We switch to the outside to get on the racing line. We go around the outside, but we've got the inside on the next corner and cleanly does it. We get ahead of our teammate, Charles Leclerc, regain the lead of the race. I need to say title of the race. Regain the lead of the race. And hopefully, we're going to stay here now for the rest of it. I won't lie to you, I have to really concentrate on the middle sector of this race because I just find it real difficult. But I think the opening part of this race is probably the best I've ever started a race on this game. I think this is the best opening lap you've seen me do. I'm very proud of this lap, actually, which it sounds like a really weird thing to say, but I think I've nailed this lap completely. We're still ahead of our teammate Charles Leclerc as we finish the first lap and get the fastest lap naturally because we crossed the line first. But that was pretty successful, I've got to say, as we make it cleanly around that first corner. We make up a bit of ground on Charles Leclerc as well. If we can get up Eau Rouge safely, don't crash it and bin it like we did at the end of the of third qualifying. Then he said third practice, but it's third qualifying, Q3. We don't bin it on the straight. We should be, well, I say far enough ahead of Leclerc. He's currently trying to get the move done on us. He's using the slipstream. He's alongside us once again, but we have the better racing line, obviously. He does get alongside us, but again, better racing line for us. We've got the inside of the next corner, and we maintain the lead of this race right now. I'm going to try and talk through Sector 2 here, just so you can actually see what it looks like, because I don't think I've spoken through it through qualifying or any part of the race yet, because I just try and concentrate through it, because I find it really difficult. They've got some, this is the best corner. This is the best corner of the whole track, this one. It's a real high-speed one, quite a long one as well. I quite like that one, but I have to really concentrate through this sector to be able to get it done. Otherwise, I just feel like I can't do it properly, although I feel like I've nailed it doing it there. So maybe I'm just getting better at the game. Maybe I'm getting better at talking and racing at the same time. Who knows, but I'm happy with it. So as we approach onto lap 3, the DRS is now enabled, obviously, and Leclerc is within DRS range of us. So he's 0.8 seconds behind us. He will have DRS on that big straight where he's tried to overtake us on the first 2 laps of this race. If we get a good run through Eau Rouge, we might be able to just stay far enough away from him to make sure he doesn't get the DRS move on us. He is far away, but I think he is still within a second of us. You can see his DRS is open already, and he is making ground on us. Luckily, though, he's not going to get the move done. He's not quite close enough, so that's good for us. He's 0.1 seconds ahead of us, though, or behind us, sorry, at the sector interval. So we've got a lot of work to do to stay ahead of him, because he's not going to go away with that DRS. He's going to be on us the entire race, I reckon. If you look at the mini-map, though, it's me, Leclerc and Hamilton that are starting to sort of break away from the rest of the grid right now. The front 3 starting to get away, so it could end up being a 3-horse race between us for the win in this race and the podium positions. I think we should be a minimum expecting a podium. But as long as we don't drop behind Leclerc and Hamilton, obviously we'll make some points up to them in the Drivers' Championship. But I do feel that Hamilton is probably just too far away now for us to really mount a significant challenge on his title hopes. We've got to hope he sort of crashes out maybe in a few races. We've got to try and win every single race from here on out as well. So it's a tough one. Lap 4, though, we seem to have made up some decent ground away from Charles Leclerc and Hamilton. They're battling each other out now for second place, which Hamilton has just won. But luckily for us, they're both further than a second behind us. So we're starting to make a little bit of ground up as they are battling each other, which is slowing them down. And it's giving us the opportunity to get a bit further in this race. Obviously, we want Leclerc to finish ahead of Hamilton because that limits Hamilton's points and things like that and helps us make ground, more ground at least, on Hamilton. So we could do with Leclerc beating Hamilton. Hopefully he does that and helps us out a little bit. Now, as we enter lap 5, I've just seen that Leclerc is now ahead of Hamilton, and so is Vettel. So has my wish of Hamilton sort of crashing out happened? Because he's somehow dropped an awful long way back. Because it was us, Leclerc and Hamilton, that were miles ahead of the other cars, and now suddenly it's me that's miles ahead of Leclerc. Leclerc is miles ahead of Vettel, and Hamilton is he dropped back to 4th there? Which is, I don't know what's happened there. We'll have to try and find out. I'll look at the end of the race. I will actually purposely look at the end of the race to see if we can find out what happened to him, because that's really weird how he's dropped back. But that could be massive for us in terms of the championship. Right, I'm being told to pit on this lap, lap 6, which was the scheduled pit stop lap. So I think I will stick with that. Leclerc has gained a little bit of ground on us. Now, I thought we were meant to be going onto the medium tyres, but I've been told that we're going onto the hard tyres, which I don't agree with. I want to go onto the mediums, please, as we sort of mess up Eau Rouge there a little bit. So I don't know why we've gone onto the hard tyres. I swear on the strategy we said mediums, so we will switch to the mediums, obviously, but good job I was listening out to the radio, so actually I heard that. Otherwise, we'd be going onto the hard tyres, and I'd be raging, because the hard tyres are slower than the medium tyres. Leclerc, though, is really gaining some ground on us. You can see on the mini-map that he's getting closer and closer, We're actually quite far away from the next sector interval, so we won't see how close he is, but he could be within DRS range on the next lap. So actually pitting on this lap is probably perfect for us. So as we get well, I thought there was a sector map there, but it's not the sector interval. Next few corners, then we're at the sector interval, and then we'll see if he is within a second of us or not. I don't think there's a DRS straight on this last part of a lap. He is 1.7 seconds. I thought it was a lot closer than that. To be fair, actually looking at that behind us like that, he is a bit further away. But he is making ground because we were more than 2 seconds ahead of him at one point. So he's making some ground. We need to get in the pit stop. We need to change our tyre for some fresh tyres. And hopefully it will all work out at that point as well. Hopefully no cars sort of get in our way as well. Hopefully the plan, at least in my opinion, would be everyone else pits. Hopefully we get a bit of clean air. Is anyone else coming into pit? Yes, a Ferrari's pitting, a Mercedes is pitting. Quite a few cars are pitting actually behind us. In fact, just about every single car's pitting. Luckily for us, we get away before they all start to come through. Looks like there's a McLaren and a Toro Rosso that hasn't decided to pit. There's also a racing, there's a few cars. We might actually come out in a little bit of traffic here. We're going to get out ahead of the Stroll's Racing Points, which is good, but we are behind Alexander Albon and the McLaren ahead of him, probably of Carlos Sainz, I would imagine. But we've got fresh tyres, we've got a faster car, we've got DRS on Albon. We should really be getting the move done on him as we are making up a bit of ground. Sparks flying off Albon as well. Do we go down the inside of him? No, let's not risk anything too much. We've still got track position, I'd imagine, over our teammate Charles Leclerc, who's still out ahead of us, but I think we should be able to get past him. We're going to try and maybe go around the outside of him on this big long corner, using all the track possible to get alongside him. We've got the inside line. On to this next one, though. Another nice bit of clean racing from me for a change. No, I don't think we've actually had any contact with anyone so far on this race, which I think is actually a miracle. Potentially the first time we've ever gone through a race without any contact with anyone in this entire series. So that was a great overtake on Albon. Coming up next, though, Norris. I assume he'll be pitting on this lap. I assume our teammate Charles Leclerc is also going to be pitting on this lap. We've just got a message saying he's in the pit stops. We should be overtaking him pretty comfortably, I would imagine, as we look to try and get the move done on Norris. Norris is going inside the pit stops, though, so no overtaking on track for him. As you can see, Charles Leclerc on the minimap is now moving. We get ahead of him, but are we going to be ahead of him after the corner? Have we got the move done, or has he got the undercut done on us as we really go massively wrong, really spinning the wheels, spinning the car around, nearly crashing into the wall? And if Leclerc had come out the pit stops a second earlier, we would have crashed straight into him. Luckily for us, he doesn't get the undercut on us, or the overcut rather. He doesn't get the overcut on us, and we stay where we are in first position with only a couple laps left in this race now. This should be, fingers crossed, barring any crashes, a routine win now. Looking at the mini-map as well, I think Hamilton may have even dropped down to 5th place, or he could be even further back, because the Mercedes cars seem to have dropped back. It looks like the 2 Ferraris are behind the 2 Red Bulls, and then there's a Mercedes, and then there's a Renault. And I'm looking at the minimap, not looking at the track, which is why I'm going all over the place here, which isn't quite good for me. And it's given Leclerc a big chance to catch up. I shouldn't have been doing that, but by looks of things, there's a Mercedes in 5th and a Mercedes in 7th. So that's very, very good news for us in the drivers and constructors standings. But me trying to look at that has allowed Charles Leclerc to get pretty close to me now. And I can see the arrows starting to appear now, which isn't a good sign. He's definitely going to have DRS on us next lap. And actually, he might even try and go for a move before we even get on to next lap. So we've got... That was stupid of me. We need to be vigilant now. We need to concentrate. We've got 3 laps to hold on. Let's not be stupid. Concentrate now, Tom. Concentrate as we make our approach to Eau Rouge. I think we may have got ahead of Leclerc a little bit through that section there, but going through the DRS detection point, he is going to have DRS on us, and he probably will get past us. He probably is going to get past us at this stage. We're going to have to try and sort of plant it in the middle of the track a little bit, make a defensive manoeuvre, middle of the track, try and go around the outside of this corner and up the inside of the next one. This is the Oh, Leclerc is doing it. He's done it. And we've not been able to defend, unfortunately, as we try and go around the outside of Charles Leclerc. And it might work out for us as we try and go down the inside of the next turn. A little bit of contact there with his rear tyre, but nothing too major as we go side by side. Charles Leclerc, though, is he going to leave us room around the corner? He does leave us room. We get the inside line, the faster line, and we get ahead of him in emphatic style. And we're now miles ahead of him because of that corner. He had to really slow down there to stay on the track, but also give us some room. And it's worked out massively in our favour. The end of this race is going to be a huge battle. So entering the penultimate lap now, we are ahead of Charles Leclerc, but only by 0.3 seconds. He is going to have DRS on us once again, so expect another battle on this lap. This race is not won. I said it was a safe win. It is not a safe win. Leclerc is right on our tail now, and we've got to do everything to make sure we get the maximum points and the race win here today in Spa. He's already there. He's got the DRS on us as he come over the DRS line. He's going to be with us a lot quicker than he was last lap, so we need to defend from him. Although saying that, he's maybe not quite as close as he was. I thought he'd be easily overtaken us before that point, but he hasn't, which I'm not complaining about. It means we get an extra lap ahead of him because it's very difficult to overtake on the rest of a lap, I feel. I think like the AA aren't the best at overtaking on this track, apart from the DRS straights and on that corner. Whew. This race is hotting up. Oh, completely forgot as well. We've got 2.5 laps of extra fuel in the car. That's why we're perhaps a bit slower compared to Leclerc. We'll move it up to the rich mix, obviously, to try and burn through as much of that as possible over the next, lap really now. So I failed to use that. That's my mistake. But it doesn't matter too much because we are still winning this race, which is good. We've got more ahead of Leclerc on that lap as well. As long as we avoid being overtaken in the DRS zone, I think we will have this race in the bag, as we have just got the fastest lap of the race. Maybe we can get another fastest lap on this last one as well. That would be fantastic if we can do that, as we do the same thing as we did when Charles Leclerc was coming out the pit stop. Get on the accelerator a little bit too early out of turn 1. Spin the car around a little bit, and we've lost some time to him there. Which means on this straight, he'll have DRS again, and he may be overtaking us. We're going to park ourselves in the middle of the track, move towards the outside of it to get the line through a corner. He was right on our tail there. He came very close, I think. We saw the red lines for the overtake, but he's not managed to get it done. And as long as we don't mess things up now on this lap... Oh my God, he's right there. I didn't expect him to be so close. We go very wide through that corner, and Leclerc actually might see that as an opening. He hasn't quite seen it as an opening, and he's not gone for the move. As I was saying, though, as long as we don't mess it up, we should be okay to take the race win. But there's still a long way of this race to go, as it's a very, very long lap and a lot of turns that I'm not particularly good at, but I've not messed things up yet in this race, which I'm really pleased about, actually, because I think this is probably the best I've ever raced on Spa, which is, a good time to do it when we need to be picking up some race wins. It's also fantastic as well that Hamilton has somehow dropped back. We will look to see what happened to him at some point, but that's a weird one. We seem to have got a little bit of clear air between us and Charles Leclerc right now. He's still very, very close to us. And down this back straight, he may try and go for a move into the bus stop chicane. I'm nearly saying bus shop again rather than bus stop. But as we come round the final set of corners, we're going to take the checkered flag. We have led this race from pretty much start to finish. And across the line, we have won it. Absolutely fantastic results. And just like the British Grand Prix, that is another Red Bull 1-2. But this time it's me and Charles Leclerc sharing the Red Bull suits, as Max Verstappen, of course, has been dropped. Red Bull, I think they probably have been justified in their selection with a second place finish from him. But Verstappen was doing really well. He had 2 second places in a row, I think, actually, if I remember rightly. So very harsh to drop him, but Charles Leclerc, fantastic job. So, Red Bull 1-2, fantastic stuff. Charles Leclerc on the last lap of the race does get the fastest lap, which is quite frustrating. So he gets an extra bonus point for that, but it's not the end of the world, is it really? Looking down there, though, you can see that Lewis Hamilton finished 11th in the end. I want to know what happened to him, because I wanted him to crash out, and somehow he did. Well, he didn't crash out, but he's finished outside the points, which was as good as crashing out, really. But it wasn't anything to do with me. Nothing to do with me, so I want to see what's going on here. What we can see is Charles Leclerc trying to go for overtakes on me every single lap, and to be fair to him, he gave it a good go. It's quite an interesting angle, this, actually, watching all this unfold in the replay. I might have just spotted something here. So do they touch here? No, I don't think there's any touching there. I thought they came very close. I think it's not far after this. This is when Hamilton will start to drop back quite a bit, maybe. But because we're on lap 4 now, I think, at this point. He gets ahead of Charles Leclerc. I remember this bit, actually. Yeah, he gets ahead of Charles Leclerc. So then Leclerc obviously gets back ahead of him at some point as well. He gets past there when we got ahead of Charles Leclerc later on, obviously at the same place. And then, I don't know, Hamilton just seems to drop back. Like, massively. And then he gets overtaken by Ferrari. I can't see any front wing missing. Or anything like that. Looking around here. I honestly can't explain why he's done so poorly and why he's done so badly. Like, he's just dropping back. I can't see any damage to his car. Nothing to his front wing. Anything like that. He gets overtaken there by another Ferrari. But something must have happened. Because he dropped back... Unless he had engine issues, maybe. That could be the issue. Engine issues. That I'm going to say that was it. So I'm not quite sure what happened to Hamilton. Either way, we are now only 40 points behind him now. So we've made some significant gains on Hamilton, which is good. And we're now only 21 points behind our new teammate, Charles Leclerc. So that's pretty good. In terms of constructors, we are right on the tail of Ferrari now, which is good. And only 52 points behind Mercedes. So suddenly, after today's race... we're looking like we're in a really, really strong position. So then we've got 1,000 R&D points to spend. And actually, I'm not sure we can actually afford anything. Can we get one of the... Oh, we can get some... can we get 2 of these? We can get rear floor upgrades for the chassis. Can we get the other one? Oh, we've not got quite enough money or resource points to get the other chassis upgrade. But that should be another upgrade coming for next week, which would be really, really good. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. I've really enjoyed that win. Very surprising win, because I didn't think we'd do it in Spa at all. But we took the win, and I'm really pleased with the 1-2 in the end. We're heading into Monza next time. We want to upset Ferrari. We want to win. And I'll see you next time in Monza.